So, John Paul has managed to get himself 2 interviews released, and I mean, back to back. Okay? Now, one thing I noticed is that the news station guy who interviewed him gave him more pushback than Flo did. Not only did Flo pretty much agree with everything John Paul said before he even released the interviews, because he's releasing it in segments, supposed to be 2 hours long. He came out here and he told all of y'all that y'all, I already posted the video, but being that I can't remember what he said word for word, he pretty much said, you're going to get down to some real truths about this case. Then he going to talk about, oh, he got emotional and what, people going to see a different side of him or see if they still believe what they believe, something to that effect. And then he was talking about there's 4 other people that we need to question. I mean, that's clear as day to me. And like I said, the news guy gave John Paul more pushback than Flo. That's a damn shame.
One thing I have great peace about between me, God, and my wife is that I was the best husband I could possibly be, and if I were to do it over again, I don't think I could have done any better. And so, because of that,
you know, I feel like of all the things that John Paul has said thus far, this statement here is like the worst. It's the hardest hitting. It wasn't when he said, oh, he was the best husband, he couldn't be any better. I mean, that's just delusional, sick, pompous, arrogant BS. This right here takes the cake. We're going to rewind this.
One thing I have great peace about between me, God, and my wife is that I was the best husband I could possibly be, and if I were to do it over again, I don't think I could have done any better. And so, because of that, in the midst of all this war and chaos,
this is a sick puppy here, boy.
Peace.
This is a sick puppy here. He's a sick puppy. Okay. I mean, real sick. Ugh, I swear, man. It's just so unbelievable. He said he got peace.
I've been asked first why I spoke that Sunday morning, why I would get up and preach after my wife passed away the night before, or the day before. And I don't know if anyone has ever taken any psychology classes that could help me understand exactly what I should have done. You know, you spend 7 years trying to keep somebody alive with medicine, and their family convinces them to stop taking the medicine, and so then you spend 3 months every single day for 3 months doing whatever you can.
Do y'all notice something? John Paul talks about medicine, hospitals, cops. What else am I missing, y'all? Medicine, hospitals, cops. Not God, not Jesus. He's a pastor, y'all. He is a pastor. We have seen sermon after sermon, and they be kind of strange. But notice, when it comes to trials and tribulations, even in his sermons, he barely resort to God. He'll say something like, "Oh, God, it's so good to do that to me," you know, or when he called himself trying to program his but other than that, when it comes to his wife, their problems, her sickness, alleged sickness even, or, any woes or foes they're having. Medicine, hospitals, doctors, not God. Police, medicine, doctors, hospitals, lawyers, not God.
Keep her alive, whether it's going to family, friends, her pastor, her counselor, policemen, judges, doctors. I did everything I could, lawyers, whatever I could, to get her medicine and help her take it.
I begged and I pleaded to God. I fasted for 40 days and 40 nights and said, Jesus, please deliver my wife. I laid hands on her. I don't know if he does that. Did y'all ever see him? But still, hey, a pastor, if I was a pastor, whether I lay hands on somebody before or not, let that be going down in my household. I'm going to lay hands, feet, Crisco, lard. We're going to use the most fattening oils. All seriousness. He did not one time say, I begged to the Lord. I cried out loudly to where my neighbors was knocking on the door and said, Pastor John Paul, are you okay? And I cried out to Jesus. I prayed with her. I said, come on, honey, let's go pray. We went and got counseling from my mentor, my higher church. We went to a couples church camp. They have those. Yeah, they be doing all kind of couples, this, that. A lot of churches. None of that. In fact, nothing about no church. Nothing about no Bible. Nothing about no God. This is Satan's spawn.
Years trying to keep somebody alive with medicine, and their family convinces them to stop taking the medicine, and so then you spend 3 months every single day for 3 months doing whatever you can to keep her alive, whether it's going to family, friends, her pastor, her counselor, policemen, judges, doctors. I did everything I could, lawyers, whatever I could, to get her medicine and help her take it, and she would not take her medicine because her family didn't want her to. And so in that moment when I got the phone call, it was late Saturday night, I felt like the world's biggest failure in my life.
I think it's ironic. I think it's ironic that Jesus showed up at the protests. And he keeps coming. I think it's also ironic that Jesus shows up on TikTok. Who is on behalf of John Paul. And he seems like he is John Paul. But ain't no Jesus in none of this pastor is talking about. Ain't no Jesus in it whatsoever. But Jesus is at the protest. He's on the main line. Tell him what you want. This is a pastor, y'all.
Completely, and my worst fear had come upon me. And 10 hours later, I was supposed to preach, and I didn't know what the right thing to do was. I didn't know if I stay at home, I might kill myself. If I sit at home by myself, I might be depressed. If I go out with a friend, what do I do? Do I go to a bar and drink? Do I get on my knees and pray to God? What exactly am I supposed to do? And so I went with my natural instinct was just to get up and work.
The last thing he said was get on my knees and pray to God. Did you hear that little scoff he did after that? Like, yeah, I don't do that. Satan's son don't do that. Listen, I'm not telling you what to hear. I'm telling you what I heard. Sit at home by myself. I might be depressed. If I go off with a friend, what do? Do I go to a bar and drink? Do I get on my knees and pray to God? What exactly am I supposed to do? And so I went with my natural instinct was just to get up and work. And if Mica were there, she would have wanted me to do that. I know y'all gonna be like, she pausing so much. Come on, y'all, this is insane. Do I get on my knees and pray to God? Did your pastor just ask you that question? Do I get on my knees and pray to God? Okay, so what were the other choices? One of them included Xing himself off the planet, right? So he ain't doing none of these choices that he picked. What did he put in the category, y'all? get on my knees and pray to God. He ain't doing that either. He ain't doing that. Listen. Don't play. Don't play, JP. Do not play, baby. Do not play.
And so in that moment when I got the phone call, it was late Saturday night. I felt like the world's biggest failure. My life is, as I knew it was over completely, and my worst fear had come upon me. And 10 hours later, I was supposed to preach, and I didn't know what the right thing to do was. I didn't know if I stay at home, I might kill myself. If I sit at home by myself, I might be depressed. If I go out with a friend, what do I do? Do I go to a bar and drink? I don't know. Do I get on my knees and pray to God? You know, like, what exactly am I supposed to do? And so I went with my natural instinct was just to get up and work. And if Mica were there, she would have wanted me to do that.
Do he get on his knees and pray to God? He should be doing that day in and day out. That should be his daily routine. That should be his go-to in times of stress and troubles and strife. This fool said, do I kill myself? How can he so casually say that out his mouth? You know how? Because he said it time and time again. He's threatened it time and time again. Yet this little rat is running around twisting his nose up, talking about Mica was the one. Now, Mica and John Paul probably just had a dual toxic relationship to some degree, because she stayed with him a long time. They had some kind of special bond that made them cheat on their spouses together. So they clicked off in some little sacred place that only they understood. Okay? So, I mean, she could never be innocent, but it don't mean she deserved how he did her. Not at all. Not at all. But how can he try to run the story that she is the one who was, suicidal? And her demise was self-induced. Y'all know how when they induce the labor? Huh? What do they do when they induce your labor? They cause it to occur against his own will, right? Because clearly you're not going into labor. That's the problem. So when they induce it, they're causing it to happen when it otherwise would not happen, because it just wasn't trying to happen. So what would a self-induced what word can we use? We can't say death. Man, YouTube, I'm just like, really, what would that mean? You caused it, or somebody caused it to happen. But he says self-induced. So she caused somebody else to make that happen. Is that what it means? I don't know. Shit. Ask JP. So he can tell you a lot.
And so I just went with what was natural, and I preached. And at the end, I made the announcement. I don't know the right way to make an announcement like that. I don't know what you're supposed to say, what you're not supposed to say. If I could go back and do it again, I guess I would have asked more people how I should announce it. I said what I said because I didn't want anyone to...
I'm sorry. Throughout my many years in different churches, we come to learn that the pastor consults with God about his sermon. He may have a mentor, but ultimately he needs the okay from the ultimate master, right? To say, this is good, my child. This is the Sunday for this, my child. You know how people go to church and be like, boy, he was talking to me that day. Boy, he told me everything I needed to hear that day. I saw an interview yesterday with Lil Woody. Man, listen, y'all, that's a good-ass interview. I wish I had time to sit and review that interview. I might go over some parts of it, but that's a good interview. Wow. So, he talked about how he, at one point, the pastor invited him over to church. I believe he said it was a Saturday. They go have a revival. Everything that was said, he needed to hear. A lot of people say that. Yeah. God bless that. He said this is the message to give out this day. Don't God have to okay your sermon before you do it? Not with JP. Not with Satan's spawn. He'd rather ask other people. He didn't say other pastors. My mentor pastors. He said other people. He said other people.
Speak negatively about her or anything in my presence. That's the reason I told them to please be quiet. Go talk to Jesus about it, and then, process it with Jesus, and then discuss it. He
told the people at his church, don't talk about what I'm about to tell you. Just leave. Don't talk about the fact that I just told you that Mica offed herself. She was having issues. We couldn't get her medication. And this was self-induced. Oh, and the funeral Sunday, by the way. Yeah, I just found this out a few hours ago. Funeral planned, signed, reserved, and delivered. Don't talk about this here. He's telling us that this meant don't talk bad about Mica. Okay, so they was just going to stand around in church with the man they worship, who just said his wife done gone up to yonder, and they going to talk bad about her. Child, please. JP did 2 sermons, talked about all kind of crazy stuff. And then at the end of the sermon said, yeah, Mica, well, this thing happened. All right, don't talk, just leave. Second service, preach that BS. Hey, y'all, Mica, she did that thing. She had the things going on, and she did the thing. Sunday, that'll be the funeral. 7 whole days. No, he wanted control like he always does. He didn't want to hear nothing nobody had to say, and he definitely didn't want word being spread. What? To anybody else, because he want to put it on the second service like he put it on the first service, like he think he putting it on us, but he ain't.
The best, and I didn't know any other way to say it. I feel like no matter what I said, it would have been criticized in some way or another.
Commercial.
Why did my wife take her own life? Well, the last time I saw her, she said a lot of things. One of the last things she said to me was, she said, I want to come home, but my family won't let me. And I said, well, maybe you can come home. She said, no, they'll never talk to me again if I come home. If I take my medicine, my dad will be disappointed in me. I said, baby, who cares about any of them? What do you think God wants you to do? And when I said that, she showed me this book she was reading called I Love Jesus, But I Want to Die. And I said to her, why do you want to die? She said, I want to die because I can't come home, sleep in my bed. And she said, I want to do that. And being away makes me want to die. Child, please. What happens is she gets this thought, and the thought stays in her mind, but her mood changes. It's a very unusual thing with schizophrenia, bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 altogether. And so when she gets to this point of suicidal, she gets to a euphoric state and thinks, well, this is a great idea. That's why, if you look at the Dick's Pawn Shop video, she's smiling. So if it's any, if it helps anyone.
I can't deal with this one. I wish I had listened to this first, because I swear this is the part where I would have went back and pulled that video up. Smiling. But John is doing exactly what the devil is supposed to do. The amount of rage that brews inside of me for this dude and what he is doing and what he has done. Smiling. It is soul crushing to watch Mica in that. Soul crushing. And this affects so many people. And this evil spawn of Satan is enjoying it, because that's exactly what he does.
With, thinking she was hurt or depressed or this was her only way out. That wasn't her thought. She was in the euphoric state thinking, this is what I'm supposed to do. It's a great idea. It's a good thing. And that's not when she called 911. It sounded like she was ordering a pizza, because she wasn't, in great fear or torment or I'm so depressed and all these kind of things. So my thought is, a few weeks before we got together, she was talking about how she wanted to die because she can't come home because her family won't let her. That mindset, I believe, stayed with her until her schizophrenia.
Man, can we just take this time to give a shout out to Mica's family? Can we just take the time? Because none of us sit here and begin to imagine the hurt, the pain, the turmoil, especially with this being so public. And this guy, he won't shut up. He won't shut up. Can we just take the time to send some prayers, some energy, some love, some light, some strength over to this family? Okay? Because they need a refill every single day, all the time. It ain't nothing but the mighty hand of God holding on to them so that they can endure this. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And now he wants to... Listen, let me tell y'all something. John Paul Miller is being John Paul Miller. We are not even equipped with what it would take to really truly go down into that dark path of what it was like for Mica as his wife. Look at all we've seen from him. All the things that we discovered before, him coming out, making videos and stuff like that. All the things that we discovered since we met Mica about John Paul and what he's done. And look at him now. Look at him. Look at him. Look at all that he keep doing and all that he keeps saying. And to him, it's a good idea. To him, he killing the game out here. He killing it. He to him, he running her family in circles. He running her family into circles. See, he accomplished tearing her down. He accomplished she's not here anymore. And he seems just fine with it. I mean, he accomplished keeping her body, keeping it from being autopsied, and getting her cremated. So he really think he's unstoppable now. He don't even hear us in the same light. He like, man, y'all are peasants. You underneath me. I got you. I'm God. I don't even think JP thinks he's God. He thinks he's the version of God that he serves. He don't serve the God that he pretends like he serves. Y'all don't serve the same God. He serves Satan. This is Satan boy right here. Okay? This is Satan's spawn right here. He's having a good old time. They have good laughs every night. That's why praying to God never comes up for him, because he don't do all that. Do you know who his daddy is? Imagine. Just imagine. The dark, 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 dark world that she was in with him. Jeez.
Harm yourself. And that's what happened. So, on February the 6th,
I'm not even gonna lie. Okay, first of all, is it just me or is this guy looking a little more tired, dry and wrinkly, and just like he's Benjamin Buttons right now? I mean, pay attention. But I think it's disrespectful to be asking this dude these questions. I feel like it's disrespectful for Flo to do that punk ass, raggedy ass video interview and all the moves made surrounding it and thereafter. But why? Why are people doing this? Why? To keep allowing him to sit up here and dog out her and her family like this. I don't think Mica is sitting in heaven or wherever she is, whatever you believe and whatever's true, and looking down and saying, yeah, y'all, let him keep going. Let him keep tormenting my family. Okay? No, I don't think she's saying that, because what are we going to get of substance from John Paul? And at the end of the day, ain't neither one of us the prosecutor, judge, or jury, none of that. And when you get to talking about that, actually, because y'all want him to go to jail, you know that you have a right to a trial. Yeah, what kind of trial you think this dude gonna get?
Tells her how much she loves me. I'm the greatest husband in the world. She went to her doctor's
Listen
office,
to this.
and her doctor called me and said she's having a schizophrenic episode. You need to get her to the hospital. And I said, I can't. She won't go with me. And the doctor said, well, I'm going to call the sheriff, and I'll have them pick her up. And she filled out this paperwork that says she's
I want y'all to look at
suicidal,
his eyes.
delusional.
I want y'all to look at the bags under his eyes. Whose bags were bigger? Mica's at the pawn shop or his? That's a sign, y'all. To me, it's a sign. He's either suffering and hiding it well. Well, not too well, but you know what I mean. Or his suffering is getting ready to begin. Because you know John Paul wasn't sitting around crying over Mica. Not at all. But he puffed the magic dragon right now. That is a telltale sign of extreme stress, possible sleep deprivation. That, however you say it. He got it.
Psychotic.
He got it.
And I sent it to her family, and I said, hey, she's sick and she needs to go to the hospital like she has many times before. Why don't y'all, just pray with her over the phone? Maybe come give her a hug right before they pick her up, something like that.
These questions.
Oh, the question is, did it ever hit or harm Mica? So not once, ever in any way was she harmed by me or hit by me. Ever. One time in Disneyland, I think I knocked a drink that she was holding off. But that's the closest we ever come. Now, when she's off her meds, she's knocked the crap out of me a few times. Chipped my tooth, busted my nose, hit me so hard in my ear it rang for 6 hours and I lost hearing. But that's when she's off meds. That's when, and you just take care of it. It's like an autistic child. When someone you love can't control themselves, you don't know what to do. Do you hug them really hard and prevent them from moving their hands? Do you run in the other room? I just kind of run away. I'd leave the house.
See,
or lock myself
where are all these people who witness Mica like this? Oh, they don't exist. Okay.
Talk her into understanding what's going on and who I am, and she has never been harmed by me in any way. Ever at all. She's only been loved and cared for.
In any way.
On earth could have ever loved and cared for a woman.
That's a whole lot right there.
The goal was for her to take her medicine, and the goal was also to prevent her from getting a gun. And so having the tracker by the PI was like, it could help us prevent the gun, but if she keeps getting upset, so she's not going to trust us and take her medicine, and so we didn't know what to do.
Final word.
So I was just encouraged by my spirit.
Final word. Final word. You can't go back this time. You can't go back to saying I didn't have a track on her. Beyond the first time. Or whatever other times.
Advise her to stop doing the private eye. I was finding her following me a lot before she passed, and I would videotape different times. I was at a gas station once, and I look over, and she's driving a different car, hiding in a car, videotaping me and stuff. And she would think two things that, there are many things, but two things that were always consistent whenever she came off her meds, is she would use the word paper trail, and she would use the word double agent. And she would think that I was a double agent from England many times, and she would need a paper trail to prove who she is and to prove who I am.
He is so...
His death took off like it did nationally on social media because America, at least most of America, the ones that have the loudest voices are usually people that like Jerry Springer show. And Mica's family is the epitome of the Jerry Springer show.
Wow. This is the thing. This is the thing. This is the thing. Mica's family is the one who lost Mica, ultimately, to this jerk. Okay, some guy who was not born into the family. They could have gone their whole life never knowing who the heck he was, but he got involved with their family member, and this has all happened. They have a right, and they should speak their truths and on behalf of Mica concerning whatever she may have gone through. So because they're not only doing that, but they're fighting for justice for Mica, amongst other things, you feel like that you can just wet. Just wet.
Are raising money for the people who caused Mica's death. They're using the money to sue the man who kept her alive for 7 years and did everything he could to help her, and his church.
He is a sick.
I don't even get that.
He is a sick puppy. He is a sick. See, this is Sayyid's son, y'all. He really be believing this. He believe this. He believe this. And then look at the look on his face. He believe this. But this right here, this dude right here going through some things. Okay? Look at him eyes. Look at that. John Paul, get you some sleep. John Paul, get you some. This is my thumbnail. Oh my. Dracula, I'm coming to suck your blood. Oh.
Of the Jerry Springer
My
show.
bad with the gum, y'all. My bad. When it's first, it be juicy. It be in the beginning. Sorry, my bad.
The people who were saying justice for Mica are raising money for the people who caused Mica's death. They're using the money to sue the man who kept her alive for 7 years and did everything he could to help her, and his church. I don't even get that. I don't understand it. I need somebody to explain that to me. All I can think of is there's evil in the world. That's all. That's the only answer I have is that Satan is at work in the world.
Wow.